I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, January the 15th, brought to you in part by Zactran. Keep more of your hard-earned profits if you can scratch out a profit in this cattle business. Studies show Zactran delivers a greater return on investment than other microbials on most cattle. Remember to observe your 35-day withdrawal period after treatment. For more information, go to Zactran.com or visit with your BI representative. We've got some long-term cattle support out there, and what I'm talking about is on your back months of your live cattle contracts. They were up significantly on another day where we saw grains sharply higher, and a lot of our feeder cattle in their cash markets have been sharply lower. Of course, your feeder cattle board's been beat up this week because of the grain report that come out and the skyrocketing prices there, and your major input there, your feed costs are going to be so much higher, and we're likely looking at costs of gains that are closer to $1 a pound than they are anything else. But I tell you what, it's kind of curious when you look at that support on those back months of your live cattle contract. A lot of activities going on in Oklahoma City here recently, and around this week especially. You had your Denver stock show there. Your National Western was held in Oklahoma City. Everybody was tickled to death that it was in Oklahoma City. They could go down to the stockyards and see a going stockyards, your nation's biggest or world's largest feeder and stocker cattle market, rather than Denver, where they tore the last of the old stockyards down there. And everybody just really enjoyed it. A lot of activities going on there. Superior had their bell ringer this week, which used to be a car lot type on-site sale there, feeder cattle sale at Denver Stock Show. They turned that many years ago. They quit having that, and they started calling the big video that they have during this week the bell ringer. You guys know that when I was a kid, we used to take cattle to the bell ringer on-site car lot auction there, and we had the highest selling stocker heifers there for many years in a row. They all come out of Mississippi in somebody's backyard, but when the guys come across the catwalk and looked at them, they probably thought we had 3,000 cows, and we never had a cow on the place. But we used to get a kick out of that. But the bell ringer is quite a deal, and I know that's Superior's deal. That's not DV Auction, but I tell you what, this industry is too small not to give love to everybody. And if it's something that's significant that's going on, I want to tell you about it here on the Feeder Flash. But 142,000 head offered. Normally a 2-day sale, they ended up having a 3-day sale, and a really good demand. And a lot of guys that I talked to this week said, man, that video, it's hard to figure, and it's kind of like the last visit we had. I talked about how hard it was to figure some of these cattle, and we actually worked through one kind of roughly on round conservative estimates, and saw that what these feeder cattle are bringing still, it's going to be really tough to scratch out a profit on them. And you think, well, why guys keep doing it? Well, especially when you're talking about a huge sale, 142,000 head, who's going to buy all those cattle? A lot of them are your corporate type outfits that are going to be backgrounding probably in a lot, and then feeding those cattle, and then they're going to be filling formula deals down the road. But those corporate guys, they didn't get that big by being stupid. And they've kind of got an ace in the hole. I guarantee you that those packers know what they've got on hand. They know what their needs are. And I remember one time sitting in a big high volume feeder cattle auction, talking to a guy that knows that had the orders and knows what's going on. And we were watching a corporate feeder cattle buyer there, go into those cattle, and of course. He knew more about it than I did, and I was kind of gleaning off of him, trying to get as much information as I could. And we were talking about how, those packers, pretty much those cattle that are in those corporate yards, if they're in a formulated deal with those packers, they're really the packers' cattle. They may not have taken possession of them yet, but they know everything about them. They know how many there are there. They know what's going to be on the show list. They know when they're going to be done. They know everything that's about that. And I made mention, I said, well, they know, what cattle they have on hand there. And he said, it's worse than that. I said, that packer's office, they know how many cattle that corporate feeder got out of that sale barn that day. They know when those cattle first take possession in their partners there, the corporate feeder partners there, and they wouldn't be having those guys continue to dig into those cattle if they don't think so. And that's likely who's lifting up your back months on your live cattle futures there. And they're going to need those cattle. And then I've been telling you guys, high corn equals high cattle. So as high as grains are getting right now, and high as these feed rations are going to be, you've got your smaller outfits, a lot of them, that are going to start shucking these cattle a little bit quicker. We're talking about $1 pound cost of gain. Well, yeah, that's for every pound they gain, that's averaged over the whole feeding period. But you take those cattle weighing 14 and a half, 15, you're still rolling that feed to them. Your cost of gain on those pounds could be, as much as $1.30 or so. Well, that doesn't make a lot of sense when those cattle are going to be bringing from $1.10 to $1.15 probably. So they're not going to do that very long, and then they start moving those cattle, and that's going, if those cattle start moving a little bit quicker, then they're going to be coming back into the market for some more feeder cattle. But these big outfits that are buying all these cattle, like on these big videos and things like that, in Oklahoma City on a Monday, and places like that, the real high volume sales, those guys have had their corn contracted for a long time. At least since back in the harvest days, or maybe even long before that. Now they may get short bought on their feed stuff needs going down the line, but they'll likely wait until new crop comes and to dig back in and fill their needs on that. But they're in the cattle feeding business. They've got contracts written. They're not going to turn on a whim. They're not going to change what they're doing because they've got a set deal what they're going for there. But I tell you what, you look at some of the prices that they had, and I'm just going through the report there from USDA and looking on there in the north central states, which is up through Colorado, Wyoming, up to Montana and around. Your 550 to 600 pound just straight commodity cattle, 550 to 600 pound steers for current delivery, averaging 174 on the bell ringer. Wow, that's pretty impressive there. 750 to 850 pound just straight cattle, not programmed cattle there, out of the north central region for current delivery on the bell ringer, 132. You look at the February deliveries, they were around 132. March deliveries of those big feeding cattle, they were about 132. They got pretty good confidence, even though it seems like the world's coming to an end this week. And everybody you talk to just couldn't believe how good the sale was. It didn't seem like it slowed down much. Maybe some of the prices could have been a bit back of what they would have been if we hadn't seen the grains go up so high, but they were pretty close to what we probably would have expected if they'd had the sale a week ago. But you look in the south central region, closer to those southern plains feedlots, and your current delivery and February delivery of those big 750 to 850 pound steers was very similar, all about 132. You go out to March in the south central region, I'm talking about Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, 750 to 850 pound steers on the average, not the program cattle, just the cattle for March delivery in the south central region, averaging around 135. So, they're not all too bearish on things, even though we've got high feed costs. I keep mentioning the program cattle because we know when we get to those videos, those sell so good. In the south central region for January delivery, I saw some program all natural type cattle with all the bells and whistles, weighing from 860 to 875, selling from 160 to 162. Wow. Let's look at the board for Thursday. February live cattle futures down 17 cents at 112.07. April down 25 cents, 117.22. Going out from there, and they were down 15 cents to up $1.45. January feeder cattle down 97, continuing to get beat up. Of course, it's just on a pulley there with what your grains are doing, but down 97 for January at 132.60. March down 95 cents, 133.37. Going out from there on your out fronts on feeder cattle, down 75 cents to up 15. Your grains, I said they were higher. March corn on Thursday up 9 3/4 cents, closing at 5.34 1/4. Going to get to 5.5 here on corn a bushel, guys. Who'd have thought that was going to happen? January beans up 25.5, back up 14.36.5. I tell you what, it's scary, and it doesn't appear that they're going to back off anytime soon, guys. It's going to stay really good all the way until we get to new crop. Let's talk about your fat cattle trade. A little more cleanup trade, no better, and a little bit kind of disappointing there. But your fat cattle continue to trickle on. Iowa had some sales, 1,900 head, 26,600 there for the week, 106 to 108. Your dress sales, 172 to 173. Nebraska had about 1,800 head on Thursday, 27,300 for the week, and dress sales there, 172 to 173. Now, the Southern Plains, they haven't sold as many as we would normally see. So this could trip another trigger on NCBA's plan to have 75% of a robust market. But if they don't sell anymore, but I don't think that thing's got a prayer anyway. But Kansas, 200 heads all, but only 12,400 head for the week, which is that's pretty light for them. Just a few loads there at 109. And then Texas only had a load of cattle. One load traded on Thursday, confirmed 7,300 head is all. They need to get up around 10,000 really at the minimum, but we'd like to see more than that. But that one load was just a mixed bag deal, but at 110. And I'm telling you guys, I'm crediting the Texas cash pool for holding the market as well as they did in Texas. And I think it needs to expand, and I think you guys need to support it. Let's talk about your box beef cutout values. They were up again. I tell you what, Packers have had a heyday. They've been able to gain a lot of ground this week in your box beef cutout values. The pork cattle feeders that supply them with cattle are getting beat up with high grain costs. They're buying cattle cheaper. And, it's a good week to be a packer. But choice cuts on Thursday afternoon, 213.37. Up 237. That's a pretty good move. I know it's been real volatile during the COVID deal, but that's a pretty good move for history. Selects on Thursday afternoon, 201.07, up 201. Talk about your slaughter, 469,000 through Thursday. That's 3,000 more than a week ago, but 24,000 less than the same week a year ago. And I mentioned they're talking about a lot of maintenance, so we're going to have kind of slower change speeds towards the end of January and into early February, which does not bode well for the market or leverage or the way we arrive at our market prices. Your actual slaughter data come in on Thursday. For the week ending January the 2nd, your average dressed steer weight was 920 pounds. Ouch. We were excited last week that we had dropped 7 pounds. Well, it went right back up 7 pounds. So, but that was during the holidays, and so you don't really get a fair test of what's going on that. So take that for what it is. Talk about some other things that are going on. I've told you guys, and you guys know that I spent the bulk of my professional career in Missouri, and then I came back to West Texas area there where I kind of grew up in eastern New Mexico the last 3 or 4 years or so. But, you guys think that West Texas is cattle country. No, it's too dry. Cattle country is Missouri. And, you see guys, bib overall type of guy, he's handling a lot more cows than the cowboys with the knee-high boots and spurs that jingle, jangle, jingle, and all that kind of stuff. He's handling a lot more cattle on a lot fewer acres, and I've seen and watched for many years and did it myself too. You can handle a lot of those cattle in that part of the country with a 5-gallon bucket. And you know, that's why you have cowboys when you go out west where it's dry, because the cattle can't hear you holler at them. You get in Missouri, you might have a couple of hundred cows out there. They can still hear you holler and they can see that white bucket. You can handle them pretty easy. You don't have to get western with them. But you get out where it's dry, and you got to ride for several hours or half a day to get on the other end of them and start gathering them. That's a different story. But one of the things I've always remembered that I heard many years ago, and it didn't really amaze me, but I found it very interesting. But there's more beef calves born within a 100-mile radius of Springfield, Missouri than anywhere in the world. Now think about that for a little bit. They put cows in pastures there, like most people put cattle in pens to feed them. But they're having a special replacement cattle sale at the Springfield Livestock Marketing Center, Springfield, Missouri. DV auction customer. It's going to be Saturday, this Saturday, the 16th. They're going to have 1,300 to 1,400 head. They've got some dispersal deals on there. They got some long strings. They've got a lot of bred heifers, bred cows of all ages. They've got pairs on there. They've got several top quality replacement bulls on that sale. So get on DV auction and you can view and bid that sale at Springfield Livestock Marketing Center there, the nice facility they have right on I-44 there. And it's going to be this Saturday, the 16th. Don't miss that sale. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DV auction late in the day on Thursday, sitting at 133.38, down $1.04, and we should expect that, but that's kind of the way it's been going this week, and you can blame it all on the grains. How about your big sales on Thursday? Farmers and Ranchers Livestock, Salina, Kansas, 5,200 head. Market was real uneven there, but I'm not sure why it was, but just going with what your market reporter there, your federal state employee called it, but they called calves weighing under 4.5 and over 600 pounds, $2 to $10 lower on steers, and then the ones that weighed in between there, $7 to $9 higher. Wow. If that's the way it was, that's the way it was. But very interesting trend there. Called the heifers steady to $2 lower. Let's look at some other markets, and once I give you the trend on those, it's going to make that Salina trend sound even stranger. How about Pratt, Kansas, winter livestock there, 3,600 head there. They called feeder calves and yearling feeders $2 to $6 lower. And your stocker type calves, 300 to 500 pounders, selling steady. That sounds a whole lot more realistic there to me. Ogallala, Nebraska, Ogallala livestock there, 8,200 head. It was sure lower there. Steers $2 to $6 lower, heifers $3 to as much as $11 lower there. A couple of individual quotes out of Ogallala. How about 60 head, 416 pound little stocker steers there in Ogallala. 212, that's a pretty impressive quote. I wouldn't say that one would be that much lower. How about 85 head of 538 pound steers in Ogallala, $179. Now that's right up there, very close to the top of what we've ever seen. But that's your best quote that I saw really as far as the market goes, and the most impressive quote I saw, your Zach Tran top quote for the day, Steve Stratford and the boys at Pratt, Kansas, 55 head, 917 pound steers, $132. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.